Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. Very good morning to you. It's the morning. It's a morning here, and I'm so excited to be with you here this morning as we are going to be taking another fresh new look at the financial market. Well, we since the beginning of this week, we have been monitoring three major financial assets, which includes the US All-Spot, the GBPUSD, and of course the XAUUSD. And as at this moment, the XAUUSD appears to be the most profitable asset amongst the instrument we have been monitoring since the beginning of this week. The GBP did fairly well, while the US All Spot were still struggling to recoup the loss we incurred at the beginning of the week. So we are going to be looking into the structures today to see how we will intend to strategically position ourselves ahead of today's trading session. And in fact, I have done a comprehensive analysis behind the scenes using simple and fundamental tools such as trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to unravel the potential trajectory of price action for today. And in fact, for those of you who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you definitely must have gotten an update as to how we are going to be doing that. So I'm so excited. I hope you are ready. Buckle up and let's get started. However, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, you highly welcome. I'm really excited to always have newcomers in the house, and I know you will be asking, what is this all about? What is it that we are really doing here in the first place? Well, as technical traders, we usually gather here on a daily basis in anticipation of both the London and New York session, and where we come to do follow-up and reviews of our existing positions while we prepare ourselves for today's trading session. The session officially kickstarts 8:05 a.m. UTC, 9:05 a.m. West African time, and I do recommend that you stay tuned in so you don't miss out on any of the valuable ideas we will be deliberating on today. My aim here is to equip you with the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed trading decisions independently. The more time you spend with us here, the better you will become at comprehending our analytical approach and utilizing the information gathered here to make your own trading decisions and strategies. So once again, I welcome you and I encourage you to engage in the comment section, as this will also make you part of the family. So with that being said, here we shall be diving right into the business. And as usual, the first thing we normally do is to check on the economic calendar. And for those of you who have been with me for a while now, you know how important this is, as these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. Now, by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns on the chart, hereby giving us valuable information needed to position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential move prior, during, and even after this economic event. So far this week, based on the asset we have on our watch list, we have been focusing on both the United States and the United Kingdom. And I did mention at the beginning of the week that the United Kingdom economic calendar is devoid of any significant or impactful event. So most part of the week is going to be focused on the United States, where we shall be looking out for catalysts to drive market sentiment this week. Now, the first the impactful event for today, Wednesday, December 6th, is the ADP employment change, another significant labor data. And for those of us who don't know what the ADP is all about, well, this is an index that is a monthly economic report that provides an estimate of the change in non-farm private employment in the United States. And a positive ADP figures indicates job growth and often boost market sentiments, as they suggest that a healthier labor market it suggests a healthier labor market, and while a negative figure leads to concerns about economic slowdown and weigh on the market sentiment as well. Now, if we look at the previous data for the ADP employment rate, that is the figure for the month of October, it came in at 113,000. That was for the month of October. And we have economists projecting that the month of November will have an increase of 130,000, which is quite on the positive side. So based on the parameters and figures on ground right now, majority are expecting a positive traction in the labor sector in that regard. So that's a positive signal. Let's see if the figures will come in just as expected, below expectations, or even beyond expectations. But one thing for sure we do know as technical traders is that the anticipation of this event alone usually reflects on the chart as price action. And now, talking about price action, we want to be diving right into the chart, and let's look at the way things are going on right now and how we intend to maximize the next potential move. Now, before I dive into the chart, I can see a handful of comments right here. Torres Master, good morning to you, and thank you for the wishes. Krishna Veni, good morning to you. Glad to have you around. Which month bad for Forex trading? Is that a question or a statement? I really do not understand what you mean there. Krishna, please try to rephrase that statement and let me know. Eric Mudavadi, good morning to you. I'm glad to have you around this morning. Road to Freedom, good morning to you. Krishna Veni says, I'm a new trader. I'm using a capital of $200. Please advise how to trade and analyze to suggest me. Take very struggle for me. Well, that's good morning, Thomas Baladon. Good morning, Ronald. Well, what will I have to say here in this kind of scenario? $200, if you ask me, to be frank, $200 is very, very small for a portfolio size. And the reason why I said it's small is that most people come into the financial market with the expectations of multiplying their portfolio outrightly. But what I would like to say here is that if you really want to gain significant traction on your portfolio, you want to have a significant amount of money on your account. And secondly, I am an advocate of a well-defined risk management approach to your trades. And when you are saying you want to have a well-defined risk management approach, that means you want to risk something that you are willing to lose. So if you have a portfolio of, let's say, $200, let's say, and I don't know, it depends on your temperament, it depends on your lifestyle, it depends on what you can afford to lose. That will define your risk management strategy that you will be adopting on your account. So if you have in fact, you have to talk to me one-on-one on this one to get a personal advice on that one. You can contact me via email and we can talk about this, okay? I don't want to deviate from the scope of the purpose of this session, all right? So contact me. My emails are right in the description box or below. Contact me and let's talk about that, all right? So with that being said, let's run through the charts and let's see what is really going on in the market from a technical standpoint. So the first asset we will be looking at this morning is going to be the USOILSPOT, and in fact we have been struggling on this asset since the beginning of this week as price action had remained consolidating within a range. And this for me is a sign that there is a high level of indecision going on in the market. And for those of you who are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, I did mention some of the fundamental factors that are driving this market, from the decision from the OPEC Plus to cut oil production, and there is a concerns about the effectiveness of how they are going to distribute the supply cuts among the 23 members of the OPEC Plus, which has also incited an apprehension in the market, and also the deteriorating demand outlook in China is also putting pressure on oil prices at this point in time. Now, this morning I got to hear from the news that Moody's downgraded China's sovereign credit rating from stable to negative, and this is more or less a negative signal, and it's a warning sign for lenders not to gain confidence in that economy at this point in time. So this is more or less like a red flag for the Chinese economy. And don't forget that the Chinese economy is the largest importer of oil in the world, and if the economy is not doing pretty well, then that will definitely affect the price of oil. Now, another thing that everyone will be looking forward to today is the US ADP employment change, which also has a significant impact on this commodity. Of course, we do know that it is US dollar denominated. That is one scenario. Then we are also going to be looking forward to the EIA crude oil stockpile for today, which is coming out today. So we want to see how well the stockpile in the US is for today, and that also will be giving us an insight into how the market is going to be reacting. So there's a lot of factors surrounding the US oil at this point, which more or less makes it more uncertain, hereby making major key players in the market to step aside and wait for significant cues before jumping into any position. So that's basically the reason why we have the situation. And remember that at the beginning of this week we had a couple of losses on this asset, which makes us now to be very, very careful and wait for significant confirmations before we jump into any position. So as at yesterday's live session, we had the scenario where price had already expanded the range between the $74 area to the $73 level. Remember, after we had a couple of positions closed at stop losses at the beginning of the week. And I did mention here yesterday that before we can consider buying the US oil spot, we will need price to break out and retest both of the $74 level, which interestingly shares a beautiful confluence with the descending trend line we spotted on the higher time frame. So we needed a breakout and retest of the structure to capitalize on a bullish momentum, but unfortunately for the buyers, this never happened, hereby further emphasizing the strength of the sellers here. And of course, you know how we do it in this community. When we have a descending trend line, we always feel comfortable having a sell position and looking out for selling opportunities. So we still have a sell position running right now. The minimum is one position, but I personally have two positions running, and one around the $73.50 level, and of course the breakdown of the $73 area, welcome more position. And the third one right here was triggered during the Asian session, and the third one is running in a loss right now, with the hopes that price action will still continue to the downside. Now, for those of you who had capitalized on the sell position, well done to you, and let's see how far this is going to go. Now, for those of us who still have a sell position running, I will be advising us to move all stop losses into that area around the $73 area to protect our positions against any sudden pullback, as you will see how the $72.35 level had played a major role in rejecting all attempt by the sellers to break through that structure. In fact, if you look at the 4 hours time frame, you will see sorry, what's that? Oh, sorry about the break in transmission. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, the $72.35 level had played a major role in uh, in in negating all attempt by the sellers to break through that area. For the benefit of clarity, I want to show you what things are looking like on the 4 hours time frame, which was where we started our analysis for the week. And remember how the $72.35 level was before the analysis for this week, was the lowest point price action has been. And right now price is back into that structure, so we are at a crucial juncture in this market where, depending on how price will react to the structure, will determine what our next line of action will be. So the question going into today's trading session is that are we going to be seeing a breakdown of the $72.35 level to insight for the sell-off to the downside, or will buy pressure resume again just like it did in the past to incite an uptrend scenario? So we're at a very crucial juncture, so you do want to be marking out that level on your chart, as it will give you a visual representation of what we are expecting for today's trading session. So like I said, I have a sell position triggered around the $72.35 already, and it's currently running in a loss. As you will see, buy pressure is resuming around that area again. I have a loss of about minus 12 pips on this one. So let's see how this is going to play out. But one thing for sure here is that price still remains below the descending trend line. And in fact, for me to consider buying the US OILSPOT at all today, I will need price to take out all the selling niche between the $74 area and the $73.50 level before I can confidently join any buying opportunity around this area. So on the US OILSPOT, we still remain very bearish here. Let's see how the market will play out, and in the next 2 to 3 hours we should be able to have a significant confirmation of where we are likely going to go for today's trading session. So trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my Trading View and Telegram platforms to give you updates on how we are going to be moving on from today. So we still remain very bearish. We still look out for selling opportunities. Price may climb up, it may come back into this area and drop to the downside. Everything is still looking very bearish at this point in time, unless price breaks out the $73.50 level and the $74 area. So let's see how this will play out. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions, after which you want to be using that time to mark out these levels on your chart. All right, so I can see a couple of comments here. Jonah Aruna, good morning to you. Excuse me. Good morning to you, Jonah Aruna. Adeni, good morning. Adeni Babalola, I didn't forget you, sincerely. Don't mind me. Have been very, very economical with my time lately. I'm sorry about that. We could talk some of these days, don't worry. All right, so in the absence of no questions, okay, I can see Okay, no other statement here. All right. So, in the absence of no questions, let's move on to the next asset on our watch list. So the next asset we are going to be looking at this morning is going to be the GBPUSD, the cable market, and in fact we have been selling the GBPUSD since the beginning of the week, and price action just kept on finding lower lows and lower highs at this point since the beginning of the week. Now we're beginning to see some traction in favor of the buyers, just like we saw yesterday, but that does not really confirm that buyers may likely be dictating the pace today. However, we are going to be looking out for structures on this chart that we will be using to guide our decisions. And for those of you who are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, I did share an update to you today. Today is a very significant day, as we will be looking forward to the ADP employment change for cues into how we are going to be positioning ourselves today. Then the US ISM Services PMI for November came in yesterday, and in fact it surpassed all markets' expectations. I think it came in at 52.7 against the 51.5 thereabout or so. So it came in beyond expectations, which further emphasizes the resilience of the US economy at this point in time. And in fact, the market reacted positively in favor of the US dollar yesterday. And the question now is, will this continue based on what we have here? Now, during the Asian session, we also noticed some buy pressure resume during this area. And one thing that is of concern to me is that the US Treasury bond yield is declining, and the dollar seems to be rising while the US Treasury bond yield is declining, which is something very interesting to me. That's why sometimes we don't want to, that's why I don't like doing correlation trading, because of this kind of situation. Instead, we do want to understand the psychology of price movement on that particular chart and make decision based on that particular chart. Now let's look at what has been going on here since the beginning of this week. Now at the beginning of the week, we identified a range, though we had a very volatile start to the week, as we saw a wide range where price was initially confined within the 1.27250 level and the 1.26680 level. Now we saw that when price fell into that range, it was more of price staying below the support line of that range, which gave us signs that sellers may likely be gaining momentum to the downside. And in fact, we had a couple of breakdown of the support line to give us clues that we might be selling. And as a result of this observation, we had our sell stop order just right below the 1.26680 level to capitalize on that first sell position for the week. And since then, we have been selling this particular asset. We remember we also added positions, had the breakdown of the 1.26180. We also added one more, had the 1.26050 yesterday, and we also added one level here, hoping that price will break down the structure to push price further to the downside. This was added this morning. Now, for those of us who still have a sell position running at this point in time, I will be suggesting that you move all stop losses just right above that descending trend line to secure all positions. So anywhere around the 1.26180 level seems most appropriate to move all stop losses to protect all the sell positions we have at this point in time. And let's see if the price will continue to go to the downside or in fact break out of the structure. Now, while you're trying to move your stop losses, please ensure that you have enough breathing space for price action to move around. All right. Now, with a well-secured position at this juncture, what is going to be our plans for today? Well, I have a simple setup that we will be using to guide our decisions, and the simple setup here revolves around this newly identified descending trend line I was able to spot this morning. So what I did here was to connect the series of lower highs since last week Friday, giving us this beautiful descending trend line, as you will see how price action had consistently respected this trend line at every point in time. And this further tells us that buyers are still finding it difficult to break through that trend line. Though we had a little attempt around this area yesterday, but it failed. And as of this morning, you will see that in the last 3 to 4 hours, buyers have been trying to break through, but sellers kept on pushing price to the downside. And you know how we use our descending trend lines in this community. As long as price action remains below the descending trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our sell position, and of course look out for more patterns and structures that can make us to capitalize on the next move. Now, with the situation we have here, where are we going to be adding more sell position? Well, if you look at the structure, the lowest point price action has been for this week is at the 1.25800 area. This happened during the later part of the New York session yesterday, where we saw buy pressure around that area, which lasted for about 4 to 5 hours before it moved to the upside. Now, for me to sell today, I want to see price action break down the 1.2580 level, taking out all the buy positions around that area to give me a confirmation that we are going to be going bearish. Now, there are two ways to which we can capitalize on this one, like I used to mention here. Now, for those of us who are profitable on this asset so far this week, you can easily afford to place a sell stop order just right below the 1.25800 level to capitalize on that bearish opportunity. Now, we know that we are testing waters using some of the profits we have accrued during the course of the week, and if it doesn't work out, we're going to be fine because we're just risking some of the profit we made so far this week. However, if you are new with us and this is your first position you're going to be taking on the GBPUSD, or let's say you have no leverage to bank on, I will be suggesting that you exercise patience and wait for a breakdown and retest of that structure before joining the downtrend move. So any selling opportunity at this juncture is going to be confined to below the 1.25800 level. So that is the only area where we shall be looking out for selling opportunities. However, in as much as we are looking out for selling opportunities, we cannot ignore the potentials that buyers could also come in. Of course, we saw what happened here yesterday for about 3 hours. We saw how sellers were trying to break through the structure, but failed at every point in time. They tried to do so. Now, if this situation turns out to be a reversal pattern, it could turn out to be a reversal pattern. Something like if price is unable to break the previous low here and we cite a higher low sort of a thing, then we could have something like a reversal pattern where the breakout of that trend line will give us an insight into the inability of that trend line to negate the bullish attempt anymore, and that will give us an opportunity to join that uptrend move. So to buy the GBPUSD today, I want to see price action break out of the descending trend line. So I'm going to be positioning myself. I have a buy stop order above the 1.2618. Let me put my arrows here. So we have a buy stop order above that area if price action will ever break out of that structure, and ensure you have your stop losses just right below the 1.259 area, 97 area, about 20 pips thereabout, to ensure that we give enough breathing space for price action to move around. So we're looking out for buying opportunities above the 1.2618 and looking out for selling opportunities below the 1.25800 level. So these are my views on the GBPUSD. Our center of focus for today's trading session is basically between the 1.26180 and the 1.25800 level, where depending on the direction of this breakout will give us an insight into where price is likely going for today. So let's mark out these levels on our chart, as we will be needing them as a reference point to guide our independent trading decisions. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. As usual, I will be taking another 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions before we move on to the last and final asset on our watch list for today's trading session. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I'll take this as a confirmation that we are good to go this morning. So let's move on into the last assets on our watch list for today. So the last asset on our watch list for today is my favorite, and that is the XAUUSD. We had a phenomenal week on the XAUUSD as we were able to scoop in over 600 pips from a sell position we capitalized on at the breakdown of the $2,072 level that was right here on Monday. We capitalized on that one. Then we also added more positions, had a breakdown of the 2050. Then we added one more at the breakdown of the 2030. That was yesterday. And as at this point in time, we have been taken out of all the sell positions after the resumption of buy pressure during the later part of the New York session stroke the Asian session this morning. And for those of us who capitalize on this opportunity, well done, and kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize on this move. And one thing we've observed in recent time is how price action has been trading just right above that $2,020 level, and everyone at this point, I think, are anticipating the ADP employment change data providing insight into the labor market ahead of the crucial non-farm payroll coming up later in the week. Now, going into today's trading session, how do we intend to capitalize on the next move? Well, I'm beginning to notice that sellers are losing momentum, sort of a thing, as if you look at this structure closely, you can see the price action appears to be gradually transitioning into a reversal pattern, let's say in the form of an head and shoulder pattern. So if I give a visual representation of what we are talking about here, we saw this impulsive move right into the structure. Price came into the $2,037.50 level. Price dropped again into the 2010. Sorry, that's a typographical error. Let me readjust this. 2010 level. All right, so we have the 2010 right here, and that's looking like the head of the reversal pattern, and we appear to be seeing a transition maybe into the right shoulder to incite a reversal setup. But at this point, I'm just seeing this gradually unfolding. It is yet to confirm yet, so we still remain patient to wait to see how this will play out. In fact, before this can form, it's likely going to be taking about 3, 4, 5 hours before that happens. Now, in addition to this observation is this descending trend line I was able to identify this morning. And if you look at the structure since last week Wednesday, we saw our price was finding lower highs here before the breakout of that structure happened at the beginning of the week, taking us into that area. Now price is back below that descending trend line, and if price remains below our descending trend line, we want to see it as a seller's territory, looking out for selling opportunities. But because of the failed attempt by the sellers to break through this area, for me is a concern. In fact, if I do want to sell today and feel comfortable in my sell positions, I want to wait for the breakdown of the $2010 area, which happens to be the lowest point price action has been for this week, before I want to be joining any bearish move to the downside today. However, if we can see significant signals like series of lower lows and lower highs even before the breakdown of the $2010 level happens, then we might want to capitalize on that one. So if we see something like price dropping like this, lower lows, lower highs within this area, then we can actually set up a sell positions and then have a sell stop order below the $2010 area to maximize the potential of that bearish move. But trust me, if something like that comes up, I will definitely give you an update on both my TradingView and Telegram platform. And in fact, if you are going to be part of the XAUUSD live window today, you will see this development as it unfolds live right here on this platform. So that is how I intend to sell the XAUUSD. However, to buy the XAUUSD, first of all, we need that trend line to be broken to the upside, which appears to have happened right now. As you will see, in the last hour, we saw price break out of that trend line, and it appears price is doing a retest, let's call it so. In the meantime, let's see how the market will react. If it does retest and price continues to climb up again, then we want to be capitalizing on that uptrend situation. So having a buy stop order above the $2,030 level seems most appropriate here. Then we can have another buy stop order above the $2,037.50 level to capitalize on maximizing that move to the upside. So let's see how this one will play out. Looking out for buying opportunities above the 2030. Then let's see if price will break down the $2,010 level to join a bearish momentum. Then another thing I want to include here that we can use to guide our trading decisions for today is this beautifully identified ascending trend line. I will call it a temporary one in the meantime. So because it's going to be a temporary one, I would like to give it a lighter pixel. So let's bring back our candle chart to do some little adjustments so that I can touch all the pivot lows. Now here we go. Now we continue to use this as a guide. So if price comes back into structure and reversal patterns happen above the 2030, looks promising to join a uptrend. However, if price drops below this trend line and then we see something like a retest of structure where sellers continue to negate all attempt by the buyers to break out of the descending trend line, then we shall feel comfortable joining a bearish move early enough, then maximize the bullish momentum if price action continues to break down both the 2020 and the $2,010 level. So we are at a very crucial juncture in the market. We are depending on how price reacts to this area between the $2,030 level and the 2020 will be welcoming, will be giving us an idea into how we will be positioning ourselves for today's trading session. But personally, I think that price may likely go to the upside here. That's my feeling, and I'm having a buy stop order above the 2030 and then above the $2,037.50 level. So let's see how the market will play out. Trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates as at when due. If you have found this content helpful and useful in making your independent trading decisions for today's trading session, I would greatly appreciate your support by giving the video a thumbs up. Your likes are very valuable to me, and in fact, it also helps the algorithm promote the video to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial to them too. Thank you in advance as you do so, and for those of you who had already clicked on the like button already, thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate your support. So with that being said, let's see if we have any questions while I round off on today's trading session. So I'll just take the next 5 to 10 seconds and let's see what happens before we close in on today. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I will take this as a confirmation that we are good to go this morning. And it's on this note, I would like to wish everyone a wonderful day. It has been a wonderful moment with you guys. I really appreciate every single moment. I love the energy in the house. And Krishna, you can get in touch with me personally and let's talk about this. And then Kelechi, good morning to you. Glad to have you around. I wish you also the best day today. Thomas, Ronald, Eric Mudavadi, Adeni Babalola, you guys are just wonderful. Thank you very, very much. So on this note, I want to wish us all the best of luck for Those who are joining us for the first time, I do hope you are able to gain one or two things from what we discussed here today. And if you did, I look forward to seeing you here same time tomorrow. Trust me, the more time you spend with us, the better you will become in understanding our analytical approach, which eventually you will be able to use the information gathered here to make your own independent trading decisions. And always remember to have a well-defined risk management strategy in place, which will be consistent through all your trading decisions. Remember that every decision we make in the financial market is more or less an educated guess and should not is not true. It's not. Let me say it's not. You can't say it's confirmed yet until price action hits your TP target. So because of this in mind, let's ensure we have a well-defined risk management strategy. So on this note, I wish us all the best of luck. Do have a wonderful day. Trade smart, trade consciously, and I look forward to seeing you all in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.